I think I speak for everybody when I say this. I'm just excited for these good teams and these great teams to play other great teams. Man, oh man, I don't know if y'all heard the news. I don't know if you heard the news. But the new SEC schedule for 2024 has officially came out, and we got to talk about it. Why do we got to talk about it? Because one, it's one of the most interesting things out right now. But number two, some of these schedules are insane, to say the least. Yesterday, we talked a little bit about Georgia's schedule in Oklahoma, but we're going to take a look at the entire conference schedule as a whole. I told you guys in last night's video, we're going to go over that, and here's what we're going to do. And stick with me. We're going to rank these from 1 to 16, 1 being who has the hardest schedule, and 16 being the least hard schedule. I'm so excited to get into this, and as ready as I am for 2023, I'm even more ready for 2024. I think it's rather simple. Y'all get the premise of this video, and this topic is so important, it's the only one we're going to talk about. I'm excited, and I do apologize this video's coming out a tad bit late. Had some stuff going on today, you know, things happen, but here we are. All right, Matt, but I'll shut the crap out. Now without further ado, let's get into it. Hold on. First things first, Steve sent me this on Twitter. Texas and Oklahoma before joining the SEC. And then after, it's a picture of Oklahoma and Texas after one season in SEC. And that is facts. When I saw that today for the first time, I couldn't stop laughing. That's one of the best memes you're going to see out there just because it's cold hard facts. Oklahoma and Texas are in for a rude awakening, but I think their fans are excited for it, and I'm excited for it as well. It's just funny because you're going from that decent Big 12 schedule to playing Alabama, playing Tennessee, and playing Georgia. Good luck. That's all I got to tell my Oklahoma and Texas fans. Good luck and welcome to the league. But let's get into this schedule talk. And yesterday we already talked about Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, so we only got 14 teams to go. First things first, though, you know we got to talk about them. Let's take a look at Alabama's. And I'm not going to sit up here and run through every single game. We're just going to take a brief glance. We're not going through everything in full detail. And to give us some more context, in the black, these are your home games. In the red, these are your away games. While Alabama at home, you get Auburn, Georgia. That's a big-time matchup. I already talked about that. Mizzou and South Kakalaki. Home schedule ain't too brutal outside of Georgia. But on the road, you got to go to LSU. That's tough. To Oklahoma. That's tough. And to Tennessee. You do also got to play Vanderbilt, but let's be real, Vanderbilt's not going to beat Alabama. That's tough right there. Alabama will have one of the hardest schedules in 2024, and if I'm not mistaken, we do play at Wisconsin for our season opener. Could be wrong on that, but I don't think I am. You know what I thought about? Instead of ranking these from 1 to 16, hardest to least hardest, that'd take way too long. Let's just do the top 5 hardest schedules. I think that's better. Continuing along here, though, one of the more easier schedules I would say is Arkansas. You got LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Texas at home. And then on the road, you do got to play at Missouri, at Auburn, at A&M, and at Mississippi State. And whoa, I know what my Arkansas fans are about to say. Matt, you think that's an easy schedule? No, I think it's a hard schedule, but compared to some of the other teams in conference, it is easier, if you get what I'm trying to say. Truth of the matter is, every SEC team in 2024 has a hard schedule. We have a bunch of top 25 teams, and we're going to be playing each other. But I would say Arkansas's is slightly better just because of your home games are not as bad. Like, for example, you're getting LSU, Ole Miss, and Tennessee, and Texas at home. That's awesome. If you had to play those games on the road, it'd be a completely different story. And by the way, you're getting my live reaction on all this because I haven't seen any of these outside of Oklahoma's and Vandy's from last night. Taking a look at Auburn's, you got A&M, Arkansas, Vandy, and Oklahoma at home. That ain't too bad. But then on the road, you got to go to Bama. That's tough. And to Georgia. But then you got Missouri and Kentucky. This actually might be the easiest schedule out of them all. Well, you do got to play Alabama and Georgia, so that sucks because it's basically 2 guaranteed L's. But outside of that, I mean, not bad. You got Oklahoma. At least you got them at home. And then your other 2 away games, Missouri and Kentucky, that ain't hard. That really ain't too bad if you gotta ask me. Moving along here to Florida, and I'm going to talk a lot about this one. It's been stated all over Twitter, it's been trending everywhere, that Florida has the toughest schedule in 2024, and it's not even close. I'm not just going to show you the conference schedule, we're going to look at their entire schedule as a whole. Season opener, you're playing Miami, who is probably going to be a top 25 team. And then after that, you got to play UCF, who isn't a SEC caliber team, but they're decent. But here's where things get hard. Then, this is still non-conference, by the way, you're going to the Cinnamon Rolls. That's a top 10 team. Then you got your one cupcake. But here's the thing about Florida's schedule in 2024. They only have one cupcake, and that's Sanford. After that, you got Kentucky, which ain't too bad. The first 5 games ain't bad. But then here's where things just get brutal. LSU, top 10 team. Ole Miss, top 20 team. A&M, top 25 team. Georgia, top 1 team. Tennessee, top 5 team. Texas, top 20 team. And Mississippi State, top 20 team. There is a 7-game stretch where you're going to play potentially, and it looks like, unless something crazy happens, top 25 teams. And look at the last 4 games. Georgia, at Tennessee, at Texas, and at Mississippi State. You'd be lucky to win 5 games in this schedule. The SEC part's going to be tough alone, but you also got to play Miami and Florida State. Good luck. That's all I got to say. Good luck. If somehow, someway Billy Napier is still around in 2024, I mean, what are the expectations going to be for this guy? You can't expect this man to win even 8 games with this schedule. No way. Best case scenario, I think you win 7 games, and that's best. I'll tell you where I got them ranked in my toughest schedule spot. We'll talk about them in just a second. I tell you this much, they're definitely in my top 5. After that, we got Georgia. We already talked about them. It's tough. Then we got Kentucky. Do we got any Kentucky fans in the chat? I don't see too many of them commenting on videos. At home, you got Kakalaki, Auburn, Georgia, and Vandy. On the road, you got Ole Miss, Florida, Tennessee, and Texas. Not the toughest, but definitely not the weakest. Then we got LSU. They got Bama at home, Ole Miss, Vandy, and Oklahoma. Yeah, that's pretty tough, but at least you got some good teams at home. On the road, you got A&M, Arkansas, Florida, and South Kakalaki. Not too bad. That's one of the easier ones. If I'm an LSU fan, I'm happy about that. Ole Miss, their home games ain't bad except for you got to play Georgia. Then on the road, you got to go to Baton Rouge, to Arkansas, to Florida, and to South Kakalaki. Ole Miss's schedule doesn't seem too hard. I don't think they'll be in my top 5 either. Only got a few more teams to go, and then we'll rank these. Mississippi State, you get A&M, Arkansas, Florida, and Missouri at home. Okay, that's one of the easiest home slates. Out of all these teams, A&M might be the only team ranked inside the top 25. On the road, you got Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee, and Texas. Good luck. If you're a Mississippi State fan, what do you expect out of this 4-game stretch? Shoot, man, I'm thinking best case scenario, you go 1-3. Missouri, you got Arkansas, Auburn, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma at home, and on the road, you got Bama, A&M, Mississippi State, South Carolina. Not too bad. Oklahoma, we already talked about, and here we go, South Kakalaki. At home, doesn't look bad. LSU, A&M, Ole Miss, Missouri. So only maybe 2 top 25 teams. On the road, though, you got to go to Kentucky, winnable game, to Alabama, probably going to lose, to Vanderbilt, you're probably going to win, and then Oklahoma. Don't really have too much to say there. South Carolina fans, you should be happy with that. Then we got Tennessee. Of course, you're playing Alabama, but you do got them at home. Mississippi State, home, Florida, and Kentucky. Okay, that's easy home slate. That is easy pickings outside of Bama. On the road, you got Vandy, automatic W. Arkansas, that could be a sleeper game. Then Georgia and Oklahoma. Last 2, that sucks. Sucks to play Georgia and Oklahoma on the road, but you got to do it. Tennessee's got one of the easier ones, too. 2 more teams to go. Texas, you got Mississippi State, Florida, Georgia, and Kentucky at home. I can't wait for that Georgia matchup, by the way. Then on the road, you got Oklahoma, big-time rival matchup. A&M, can't wait to see that again. Then we got Arkansas and Vandy. You're definitely in for a rude awakening, Texas, because this is way tougher than a Big 12 schedule, but it's not the worst on this list. And last but not least, we got Jimbo Fisher and the fraudulent A&M Aggies. LSU, Arkansas, Missouri, Texas at home. On the road, Auburn, Mississippi State, Florida, South Kakalaki. Not too tough if you gotta ask me. Only about 3-4 teams in top 25 on that list. Let's rank these, though. The top 5 hardest schedules out of these 16 teams. At number 5, I'm throwing in Oklahoma. Fairly simple. In your home games, you got 4 top 25 teams, and out of 3 of them, they're going to be top 15 teams. On the road, you got to go to Baton Rouge and to Auburn and to Ole Miss. Those aren't easy places to play in, and all of them teams more likely are going to be top 25 opponents. Oklahoma's got an insanely tough schedule, and you already know that. At number 4 on my list, I'm going to say Arkansas, just based off of the fact their 4 home games are against 4 top 15 teams. The home stretch is brutal alone, but then you got to go to Jordan-Hare Stadium, to A&M, and to Mississippi State. There's also going to be a great chance that Auburn, A&M, and Mississippi State are going to be ranked. So out of your 8 conference opponents, 7 of them are going to be ranked, maybe, and potentially. At number 3, this was a toss-up. I mean, this is really 2A and 2B. My 2 and 3, you could switch them easily, but at number 3, I'm going to say Georgia. Their home schedule ain't bad at all whatsoever. The only thing that makes the home schedule bad is because one of their home games is considered Florida, and that's neutral site, and also you're playing Tennessee at home. Tennessee's a great team, but also Mississippi State's going to be ranked. What has boosted Georgia inside my top 3 at my number 3 spot is you got to go to Alabama. Alabama's going to be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in the country, and you got to play them on the road. That accounts for a lot, but also you got to go to Ole Miss. Yes, that one's going to be tough, but what really put this over the top for me was you're going to Alabama and to Texas. Texas is a hard place to play in. The road schedule for Georgia is brutal. At Alabama, at Ole Miss, and at Texas. And then you got to throw in there, they're also playing Tennessee. I think it's extremely tough. At number 2 on my list, I got Alabama. Why do I have Alabama at number 2? Similar reasons. I have Georgia at 3. Alabama and Georgia both have to play each other, so of course they're going to be in the top 5. Playing either Alabama or Georgia is going to have you a great case of being in the top 5 in my list. It's a hard opponent. Now, you do get Georgia at home. That's awesome. But regardless, you still got to play them. Now, all in all for the home schedule, ain't too hard. You got Auburn, Missouri, and South Carolina. It ain't bad, but the road schedule is insufferable. At Baton Rouge, which more likely will be a night game. And that is why I bumped Alabama ahead of Georgia on my list, just because Bama has to go to LSU. And I think it's harder to play in LSU than it would be for Georgia to play at Alabama. I think LSU has a better home field advantage. Also, Alabama has to go to Oklahoma. And if that wasn't good enough for you, Alabama has to go to Neyland Stadium. LSU, Oklahoma, and Tennessee on the road. It doesn't get too much harder than that. It really doesn't. That's why I put Alabama at number 2. And number 1 on my list, it ain't even close. The gap from 2 to 1, I can't even. It is so far. It is laughable. Florida is number 1. You got LSU at home, top 10 opponent. A&M, top 25 opponent. Ole Miss, top 25 opponent. And Kentucky. But then on the road, you got to go to Georgia. You know that's going to be tough. To Neyland Stadium and to Texas. And you also got to go to Mississippi State, which I hate those Cowbells. That ain't an easy place to play either. And my bad. I can't believe I keep forgetting this. It's just the way I'm reading this list. The Georgia game, it is not a technical road game, but it's not a home game either. It's neutral site. I don't know why I forget that. It's just when I look at these, they have it labeled as a road game for Florida, so I automatically assume that. The Florida and Georgia game is neutral site. It needs to go back to home and away, but whatever. That is my top 5 hardest schedules out of these 16 teams, and it really doesn't matter. If you are in the SEC, you got a hard schedule. I think I speak for everybody when I say this. I'm just excited for these good teams and these great teams to play other great teams. I'm excited that Alabama, we are going to be playing Georgia more than once every 6 or 7 years. I'm excited to play all the teams in the conference. I think it should have always been that way. Well, let's get this show on the road. I'm very curious. Let me know your thoughts on everything down below. And I think a lot of you may disagree with me, and that's fine. Let me know who you think has the hardest schedule out of this bunch. And it don't just gotta be one team. Let me know your top 2, top 3, or top 5. And like I said, I can't emphasize this enough. It doesn't matter what your top 5 is. Everybody has a hard schedule. And I kind of don't like talking about this because it gets me excited and anxious, and I have to come back to reality and realize that this isn't going to happen for another year. I wish we could go to the 12-team playoff in 2023 and already have Oklahoma and Texas in the league right now. But hey, at least it's happening rather sooner than later because Oklahoma and Texas weren't even supposed to join until 2026. Let me know your thoughts down below. But